Yeah.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the D Live podcast. DLive.in is a platform by the Indians and for the Indians, where we focus on LCHF and ketogenic diet to help people achieve their health goal. We help people know more about the power of LCHF, which has led us to achieve more than 250 success stories, which we have already reported. And I really encourage all the viewers to go to the dlife.in website and have a look on those success stories too, which will really help you to motivate, or I would say to initiate the first step in your life towards your health. And today also, we are here to share one of the very inspiring success story of a special member of D Life, whom we really call a Keto King, Shashikant. So welcome Shashi to the show.
Thank you, Jasmeet, and thanks for
It's
inviting
really a
me.
great pleasure to welcome you on behalf of the D Life team.
And I thank D-Life for inviting me to share my story.
Yeah. And I am Dr. Jasmeet, a certified low carb advisor on Day Life. So, Shashi, I think that it would be great if you could share your journey with our viewers as a diabetic, because it's very important that the people must know about your background as a diabetic. Because what I have seen from my experience dealing with the various clients, people look for the other options like the dietary intervention for the various health condition only when the condition becomes really out of control with the standard treatments. So how was your experience before getting to the RCHF?
Yeah. Jasmeet, first of all, I got diagnosed in September 2015 end.
Okay.
And that was just by chance. It was
Mhm.
it was at a doctor's clinic with one of the companies, pharma companies, sitting down and doing what is called as diabetes detection camp. So I got diagnosed, and then the level was a little bit higher. And then I came back home, and after 2 3 days, I got myself tested in a lab. And to
Mhm.
my surprise, the fasting came to around 152 and postprandial
Mhm.
253. So, of course,
Okay.
as usual, this was a shocker because there were no symptoms as it is. The classical symptoms of excess thirst, excess urination, excess hunger, polyuria, polyphagia, polydipsia were not at all there, nor any significant weight loss, nor tiredness, nothing. But there were
Mhm.
other symptoms which we will talk as we go later on. But the classical symptoms were not there. So I was taken by a bit surprise on this.
Okay.
So I
So when
met
you
a
first get diagnosed, you were already above 250.
Yeah. Postprandial was 250. So I went
Okay.
to my family doctor, then he told me you get your HbA1c done and your thyroid done. So there is a possibility that due to thyroid, it could be elevated. That's what he told me. So
Mhm.
HbA1c came to 7.2 and thyroid function was absolutely normal.
Okay.
So the usual thing was to give metformin. So I was told that to take metformin 500, one tablet. And then this was a shocker, and then I thought I should do something about it. And then I started reading the net uh, on diabetes. So I thought, because I knew what is going to happen in the future, the medications will keep on increasing, and not only
Mhm.
that, even the chances of complications setting in early is also there. It's a real possibility. So I wanted some solution. So meantime, I
Mhm.
came to know one of the doctors in Mumbai was also offering what is called as the one of the kind of possibility of reversal. Dr. Roy Taylor, who had developed this low-cal diet of some 800 calorie diet, and
Okay.
putting you on vegetables and some liquid uh, nutrition supplement.
Mhm.
So I enrolled for that, and then he did asked me to do a few tests, and then he
Mhm.
also did what is called as MRI of pancreas and also fatty
Mhm.
liver test. Fatty liver was positive even 1 year prior to diagnosis of diabetes. My fatty liver was positive,
Okay.
and he told me that the MRI revealed that there was no significant fatty infiltration in my pancreas.
Mhm.
Now, as per this Roy Taylor study, uh, there were a lot of fatty infiltration in the pancreas, which can lead to lower insulin secretion,
Okay.
and which if taken care of can lead to reversal of diabetes. That is his study. But he told me that there was no significant fats in the pancreas. Now, conversely, this 800 calorie diet was so very difficult to follow. You remain hunger throughout the day. You have been asked to eat only vegetable and then some liquid nutrition supplement. And more than it is very difficult. So after a week, I just left it. I thought, anyway, this is not going to be significant, and I have to find different solution. So different solution is then I kept reading the net, and then I came across D-Life, which was advocating low carbohydrate, high fat diet, what is called as the classical LCHF, or low carbohydrate diet, or ketogenic diet, whatever you may call. And from there, I started learning about it, and then slowly I transitioned. So probably by somewhere in by totally by, let us say, by December 2015, I was fully into what is called as low carb diet. And then I did a test after a few months, and then the HbA1c I saw was around 5.2.
So this is after transitioning to LCHF.
Yeah, after LCHF. And then meanwhile, I lost a lot of, I lost around 10 kgs of weight, primarily around central obesity. I did have central obesity. I lost that.
Actually, what I know is that you were not much overweight.
Yeah, we are called as what is called as lean outside, fat outside, or TOFI. So with thin outside and fat inside, we cannot put on a lot of weight because of we have a lower personal fat threshold. But then we collect fat inside our organs, maybe liver and the other organs. So which is a part of insulin resistance cluster or syndrome. And once this resolved, and slowly I transitioned, and then I became better and better. So a lot of experimentation here and there. But then D-Life really helped me. And then Anup Singh was there always to guide and this transition. And slowly and surely I transitioned well. And then a time came when actually I had an HbA1c of, let us say, 4.7 or even 4.9 most of the time.
Okay.
And even now the latest HbA1c is 5. And I think the maximum I have seen is 5.3, not beyond that. And that too probably because I was little more relaxed. Now coming to medication part now, people will be curious to know that yes, initially I was on metformin 500, which was increased to metformin 500 twice a day. So this was around 2 to 3 years. I think I don't recall exactly. I think must be 2.5 years I took. And then max 3 years back, I think I'm off all medication, including metformin. And I don't take any medication of any form for diabetes, neither Ayurvedic, homeopathic, anything, nor even berberine. I don't even take those berberine or anything. But then I have experimented with a lot of supplements and all. And ultimately we found that low carbohydrate diet is the one which really wins excellently. And so that's how I'm here.
Okay, thank you, Shashi. So it's great. Your story is really very inspiring, and especially for those people, who are already following LCHF, but they have doubt in their mind that how long that LCHF can help. Because people talk about the sustainability on LCHF, and even some people say that in the long run, LCHF doesn't help. And your story, is really inspiring, and the people should really understand because you have already finished 6 years on very low carbohydrate diets, which is the ketogenic range of low carbohydrate diets. So I think it's very important for you to tell people, like, no doubt that the medicines do help to mitigate the symptoms, but they never treat the root cause, the problem. So that's why we don't tell people that, just suddenly you just quit all the medicines. Medicines are also important, but that is always to mitigate the symptoms. But if you really want to get to the root cause, one has to look into some dietary interventions. So you have tried the low calories diet as well, and then you get to the LCHF, and then you found that LCHF is the only right way to eat if you are a diabetic or in various other health conditions as well. So, Shashi, could you please tell people, like, when you start transitioning into LCHF, what hindrances or what did you also struggle? Because it's a drastic change when we compare it with our normal diets, which is high carbohydrate and low fat. People really face a lot of problems, and what helped you to get out of that?
See, I think what you say is correct. We do face a lot of challenges in the initial phase because we really don't understand what exactly is this and how do we really change our diet, because everything is carbohydrate. So right from breakfast to dinner to snacks, even if you go out and have, that's it. But then slowly we find that there is a need to eliminate certain foods, and then some foods have to be replaced. So it is as simple as that. But then it is not as simple as I say, because I know that that requires a 360-degree change in the way we think, and the food pattern also changes. But then yes, it requires little sacrifices. It requires little persistence, and it requires little convincing. Now, before I get into the, let me also tell you that uh, it is not just that I joined DLF and took it. No, I did a lot of research. I watched a lot of videos in YouTube, and I read the history of low carbohydrate basically.
Okay.
So the history dates back to more than 200 years. In fact, prior to discovery of insulin and sulfonylurea class of drug, low carbohydrate diet was something which was recommended. It is there documented. Even 1797 was the first case where Dr. John Rollo from the Royal Artillery, he treated a couple of patients on what is called as a meat heavy diet. So meat heavy diet essentially is something which contains a lot of protein and fat. And he could see there was no sugar detected in urine. I mean, that time there were no blood sugars and all that.
Okay.
So what they could see is only the urine. So based on that, they surmise that patient doesn't suffer from diabetes. So throughout the history till the recent times, you will see there are a lot of other doctors, like the father of medicine. We have Dr. William Osler, Sir William Osler, and there are various others. Even Jocelyn designed a diet for diabetes, which was essentially ketogenic diet. And Dr. Russell Wilder, who is credited to discovery of formulating the ketogenic diet for epilepsy, had actually formulated a diet for type 2 diabetes prior to his formulation for epilepsy. So if you see the history, it is there, it is documented. There are hundreds and thousands of literatures which will actually document that it is a very slow carbohydrate diet is a very safe option. In fact, back then in 1700s, 1800s, 1900s early, they knew what was the solution. But I think once the discovery of insulin and other medication came, so things became little easy. People thought that they can take anything and get away, and that's how it started. So now coming back to the transition, yes, transition will be difficult, but we'll have to be a little persistent. And that's where the community help actually comes, because I joined DLive, then there was a community help, and then there were already people who were successful, and then they will help you tailor make, change your food. So the food habit has to change. You will have to get out of that carbohydrate based diet to a little more protein and fat based diet. Now, people will say that without carbohydrate you cannot live and all, because your brain runs on carbohydrate or sugar. That's what people will say. But then we have to understand that we have energy. Energy is in form of fat and carbohydrate, and then we have protein on the other side among the three macros. Protein goes into our structure building, whereas the energy, your body can use either glucose or you can use either fat for energy, depends upon what you feed. That's all. And then yes, certain parts of body or certain cells, they run on glucose.
Yeah, glucose.
And for that you have liver. And liver will produce enough glucose through the process called gluconeogenesis, which can feed those few cells in either brain or retina or some small part in kidney or whatever it is. I mean, there could be other parts. So everything can be fed by the glucose which is generated. So if you see any classical textbooks, carbohydrate is not mentioned as an essential nutrient. Proteins and fat are essential. Certain micronutrients, minerals, vitamins are essential, but carbohydrate or glucose is not mentioned in any textbook as an essential nutrient. That is simply because your body can make. That's all. What your body cannot make, you have to take from outside. So based on all these principles, slowly, this is when you shift to LCHF or ketogenic diet, we slowly shift to what is called as a fat burning mechanism. Now the issue is people do not know that we are a hybrid machine, like a car which can run on gas and petrol. We can also run on either glucose or fat, depending upon what you feed. Yeah, the transition takes time, but then we can do that. The other hindrances is like Yeah, there would be other difficulties like, people around you will be little
Yeah,
more
some social
concerned.
issues.
Yeah, social. Because they will be concerned because they have never heard about all this. This appears to be some fancy stuff, and then
Mhm.
people will say it's a fad diet. So coming to the family first, it's a big shocker for the family because they think how you can live without eating grains. So there you have to slowly convince them. How I did is I told my family that I'm going to try this for 1 or 2 years and come back to the usual grain-based diet. So that's how I convinced them. But then in these 2 years, I could prove myself that after each meal, my blood sugars were normal. And then the lab test, essentially, I did a lot of lab tests in the initial 2 years, maybe 3 times a year, to show that
Mhm.
every parameter was normal. LFT, liver function, kidney function, lipids, blood sugar, all the micronutrients, everything is absolutely normal with this diet. So as time goes on, people become convinced.
Yeah.
Now in the social circle, yes, people will feel that this guy is little weird, why he's doing this. And then but then it requires our persistence that we keep doing it. And then only as I keep telling that, no one will come to your help except your lab reports. They are the only one who will actually prove that you are right. Otherwise, in and around, everyone would like to prove that you are wrong. And then people will say it's a fad diet. They will essentially show something in newspaper, and then they will
Mhm.
say it's a fad diet. This dietitian, this nutritionist is speaking against it. But let me tell you, those who call low carbohydrate or ketogenic diet as a fad diet are, let me tell you, are essentially, I don't mind calling them, totally ignorant people who just do not read the literature.
Yeah.
Because if you go to PubMed and then just type low carbohydrate, and you just see there are lakhs of references which will come. And similarly, there are a hell lot of publication which will actually back up low carbohydrate. So I want to assure everyone who's listening that low carbohydrate and higher fat, higher protein diet will not damage your kidney. It will not cause heart attack. It will not cause kidney stone. It will not cause osteoporosis. It is on the contrary, it will resolve many of these things. In fact, I lost 10 kgs. And as a, like, I'm just preempting one of your question if you're going to ask that. I had a lot of bone and joint issue. In fact,
Yeah.
each one of us are prone to something else.
Mhm.
Someone is
So this
prone
was
to,
before
yeah,
LCHF.
yeah. So I developed what is called as cervical spondylitis. And just after diagnosis of diabetes, even before shifting to LCHF, I developed osteoarthritis of left knee, tendinitis, frozen shoulder, frozen wrist, a lot of bone and joint issues. So slowly everything just went away because not only we lose weight, but we gain control of blood sugar. And then if you see literatures, it will also show that uh, ketogenic diet is actually a sort of a painkiller diet. It will actually resolve a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So the moment I am off keto, even if I get into the LC range, I get odd pains here and there. Maybe
Okay.
cervical will start acting up, maybe slight knee pain. But the moment I enter keto, automatically all the pain goes away. I think this is very well documented.
Because
Even
these ketones are
yeah,
anti-inflammatory.
yeah,
So I think that is the reason that you remain in this ketogenic range. Otherwise, I have seen that the people even get the normal blood sugar around 80 to 100 grams of carbohydrates, but you always remain below 30 or around 30 to 40 grams of carbohydrates. So these are the additional benefits you are getting while getting to this low carb range.
and even there are other benefits like, you are more little more active, alert, more
Okay.
energetic. And I used to suffer from a lot of acidity earlier. I always used to carry a few antacid tablets in my bag, in my pocket, but now I don't
Okay.
need them because essentially I think the issue with acidity is because it is caused due to fermentation of carbohydrate, and also because there is a disturbance in the acidity of the stomach,
Yeah.
because our stomach pH is said to be somewhere between 1 to 3. And if it rises up toward the neutral or base side, it is going to cause regurgitation. And this
Mhm.
is one of the best solution for acidity. That's what I found. Yeah.
Yeah. So great, Shashi. So it's very important that the people first develop a faith in this low carbohydrate diet. So once they develop the faith, they will be remain determined like you.
Yeah,
So
and I think that is also, see, you can see I'm a clear example that I'm into seventh year of low carbohydrate. We also have a friend Anup Singh who has crossed 10 years and he's into 11th year or possibly going to complete 11 years also now. So we have proven that it is very safe. And then we know a lot of
Shashi, it's very important that the people should really understand what actually LCHF is and what it is doing to their bodies. Because once they really understand the background and what it is really doing and what are the other benefits, I think nobody can stop them in following LCHF.
I think the biggest question mark is because everyone says this is a short-term diet and then you cannot do
Yeah.
for long-term. This is generally there. So I just want to I want to get an assurance to people that we are here doing it for so many years. In fact, internationally, there are a lot of low-carb doctors who have been doing it for even more than 2 decades or 3 decades also, and all alive and fit and doing well, all lab parameters excellent. I think they should assure people that it is very, very safe and not to listen to ignorant people who don't read literatures.
Actually, another thing, Shashi, it is like, not everybody just see the benefits of LCHF from the first day itself. I have seen that some people, start to see the normal blood sugar from the first meal itself. But some has to work harder, like some may have to spend like, month or 2 months before, get into this non-diabetic numbers. This is also one of the reasons some people, quit. So what was in your case? How long does it took for you to get back to the non-diabetic
See,
numbers?
it is, let me tell you, it is almost instantaneous. The
Okay.
moment, see, because I was so fortunate that the moment I was diagnosed, within 1 or 2 months, I came to low carb. So
Okay.
there are many people who for decades, 1 or 2 decades, they are into medication, they are into high carb diet, which
Mhm.
essentially doesn't balance out, and then they will keep worsening, and then for them the reversal could be little not easy. It is possible, like in our group we have Arun Kumar, 2 decades of diabetes, who is currently only on metformin, and he was on sulfonylurea class of drug as well as metformin, and then he reversed. There are a lot of other cases, but then yes, everything depends upon the insulin secretion capacity we have. If you have enough insulin secretion capacity and if you have enough determination, then I think we can just get it under remission, I will say. I don't know whether reversal is right word or not, but we can get it under remission. But then you will have to understand that, uh, see, like in my case, had I stuck to the standard of care treatment, that standard of care is you eat whatever you want and then take medication. Today they would have added one more class of drug. So along with metformin today, I would have been essentially stuck with either a DPP4 class of drug or an
Yeah, maybe
SGLT2.
more than that.
And I'm just telling, like SGLT. I mean, these are the current trend. I'm telling you as per the current trend. And
Mhm.
metformin plus DPP4 or SGLT2. This is,
Yeah.
I mean, after 6 years, this is the fate. And then maybe if it doesn't work, then sulfonylurea and then insulin. But then now you, like, if you really see the other way, let me tell you, today in Indian pharma segment, the biggest selling drug, let me tell you, the biggest selling drug is Mixtard or insulin. So this will give you the kind of diabetes we have in our country. It is not that all are type 1 diabetic. Yeah. At this juncture, let me make it very clear that if it is type 1 diabetic, they have to take insulin. There is no way.
Yeah.
But if it is type 2, they can as well get it controlled with, let us say, diet and and plain diet itself and maybe a small dose of medication. Now just imagine the biggest drug in India is Mixtard or insulin. So you can imagine the kind of the prevalence not only we have, and the kind of uh, what we call, let us say, it is not controlled well. It is
Mhm.
not controlled well, and hence people eat anything and then they don't mind injecting anything. So that's how it is. And not to talk
Yeah.
of tablets, which is bigger market. Yeah.
Actually, Shashi, yes, you are right. Even I have seen with few of my patients, they were on diabetic medications like for 11 to 12 years. And when they shift to LCHF, within the first week, they have to stop all the medicines. And why then LCHF is not that popular among the health practitioner? Why that these health practitioners don't recommend their patients about this LCHF way of eating?
I think it is first of all plain ignorance. Let me tell you, it is not that I will not say that they are bad. Or something. It is just ignorance. That is because that is how it is, and the guidelines actually that's how it is. But let me tell you the other way also. 2019 American Diabetes Association (ESD), the consensus report actually showed that low carbohydrate diet can be an option for type 2 diabetics. It is there even today. Diabetes
Okay.
Canada 2020, they have recommended low carbohydrate diet for not only type 2 but also type 1. Now, recently, Diabetes Australia has also included low carb diet as an option for type 2 diabetic, especially for the remission part, those who are what is called the pre-diabetic range. So it is there. It is there in the guideline. It is just that we do not know and we do not read. That is all. It is plain ignorance. And then the continuous dogma that uh, that low carb diet is not sustainable for Indians. That is all. That so, but I know, but my opinion was we should always give an option to everyone that such and such option is available. If you want, please go for it. If not, there are a lot of medications are available, a lot of wonderful medication. So my message to everyone is you need to control your blood sugar either by diet or it doesn't matter. If you don't want to do, don't do, then there are medication. But then we should not, sail in between. Don't do this, don't do that, and stay uncontrolled. So that is my message at this point. Yeah.
That's why we are here, Shashi, to motivate the people, that LCHF is also one of the option that people can opt for their diabetes.
Yeah.
And what are the other health conditions that you would like to mention that can, can be treated with the LCHF?
See, we in our circle, like I do know in one of my own friends who was taken off 4 blood pressure medication,
Okay.
uncontrolled, or what is called a resistant hypertension, through a low carb ketogenic diet. Within 3 months, he knocked off all 4 pills. And then there are a lot of emerging studies which are available, like in neurological conditions. In epilepsy, it is very well documented, and
Mhm.
it is one of the biggest options available. Like Alzheimer, they're all now emerging studies which shows that it does have a positive effect. Multiple sclerosis, and even in, let us say, could be used to, let me say, even in certain conditions, certain heart conditions also. Like it is mentioned that in heart failure, the heart even when in heart failure, your heart primarily depends upon ketones as an energy substrate. So this a lot of studies are going on. It is too early to comment on this, but nevertheless, these are the options available. And then, of course, PCOS, polycystic ovarian disease, which is nothing but insulin resistance, obesity, fatty liver, everything gets resolved very strongly with the low carb ketogenic diet. So absolutely, the world is open. In fact, let me tell you other way that if you ask me what we are doing, low carbohydrate is the natural human diet. In fact, since people are taking abnormal diet, that is why there are
Yeah.
increased incidence of metabolic associated
Mhm.
disorders like diabetes, cardiovascular disorder, cancer, neurological condition. In fact, there are a lot of studies going on, even the application of ketogenic diet in cancers also. So there are a lot of studies there. So it has a wide scope, and we think that this is the proper human diet what we are following, and what others are following is not at all our human diet, and hence they are suffering from diseases. Like
Yeah.
in my own case, just to before I forget this, even osteoarthritis, I could reverse even osteoarthritis. It is there. I'm not telling that it is gone. It is there, but
Okay.
it is controlled. I have no pain, and I can run upstairs 2 steps at a time. I'm literally pain free. Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Shashi. So, like viewers, we have mentioned many health conditions that can be treated with the help of LCHF, which is low carbohydrate, high fat diet. So medicines do help, but for some time you can take the medicines to, get relief from the symptoms. But why we mentioned the various health conditions? Because, this LCHF, because the root cause of all these metabolic disorders is insulin resistance. And LCHF get to the root cause and eliminate the root cause, which is hyperinsulinemia, which is the high insulin levels in our blood, which leads to diabetes, which leads to hypertension, which leads to PCOS. And as Shashi mentioned, it's very well studied in the case of some neurological issues like epilepsy. So, Shashi, thank you very much. So, anything else would you like to mention or to
Thanks.
motivate the people?
No, thanks, Jaspreet. So the what I want to mention is low carbohydrate diet or LCHF diet or ketogenic diet is a very good option for those who are determined. Yes, it requires a lot of determination. It requires a lot of family support, and but once it is done, and I think you can be pill free for life. Because I am a living proof here that even after 6 years into the 7th year, I'm pill free, or by the time I should have been on 2 or 3 pills. Now everyone can be pill free provided they follow this diet. And don't worry, this is not a fad diet. This is the documented evidences of more than 200 years. Absolutely, it is very safe. But my advice to people is please take the help of a good professional low carbohydrate nutritionist like Jasmeet, because because there are a lot of people out there who may not know what exactly is low carb, high fat diet, LCHF or ketogenic diet. There has to be proper emphasis on fat intake, proper emphasis on protein intake, and proper restriction on carbohydrate intake. And then we also have to ensure that we get all the micronutrients by having a very good mix of food. So I think it is
Yeah.
very essential that we get help of a good low carb nutritionist. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah, thank you so much, Shashi. I would also like to add one thing at the end. As Shashi mentioned, that you need the determination, you need the motivation to continue the LCHF if you are already following LCHF, and if you are still thinking about getting to the LCHF lifestyle, you need the motivation from something like you can get it to the dlife.in, because we have a community support on DLife. We have all the members of the DLife. They work as a team to help people achieve their health goal. So do visit www.dlife.in. So thank you so much, Shashi, for your time. So
Thanks.
thank you, viewers. So
Uh,
I think that we should take few questions from the
yeah,
viewers.
yeah. I
Okay.
think
So viewers, do you have any question related with this or anything related with the low carbohydrate diet?
I have to give it the option to unmute. Bhaskar sir,
Good afternoon, Shashi.
good afternoon.
It's a pleasure listening to you all the time, you and Jasmeet. This
Yeah,
is
thank
because
you.
only thing my net connection is not so good,
Yeah.
so the connection is getting off and on. Am I audible,
Yeah,
Shashi?
please,
Yeah, yeah.
please.
Shashi, I was first diagnosed in 84, 85, and as my disease was progressing, then I was on insulin for 12 years. Then I started LCHF, which is there in my this thing. Now, my question to you was, we did some tests and my doctor said, Bhaskar, your beta cells are over. So you have to live on these tablets all your life. I am on LCHF diet except for the deviation in the evening. I am on a pure LCHF diet. I do take a fruit in the evening sometimes, Shashi, but otherwise I'm actually on a very good LCHF diet, but I'm still on tablets.
See, as you say, I really don't recall, or sometimes we'll have to see a report. But then, yes, if the pancreas have already been squeezed in the last 2 decades or so before coming to LCHF, then it is possible that you will require some support. So the advantage is with LCHF, you can be on a small dose of other tablets like, let us say, sulfonylurea class of drug or DPP4 class of drug, and you can be on a fairly good control. Now, if you don't have enough insulin secretion capacity, then plain diet is not going to help. You require support of a medication. So
Correct.
probably what your doctor says is right. But then if you follow this, you will be controlled with a lower amount of tablets. Otherwise, see, the biggest thing which you told is just now, because you came off insulin.
But what class of drugs are you taking?
It doesn't matter that we will
But
see
it
later.
depends, because because on DLife we usually get test the fasting insulin levels.
Hey,
But
okay. Yeah.
but Shashi,
Yeah.
in the last 1 month I had 2-3 incidences of hypo at night, so I
Okay.
got a bit scared.
We have to do. See, there are two things you have to do. Signal is breaking off. That you have to stick to one strong plan, and then maybe little frequently, and then maybe titrate the medication up or down. And so I request you to be little regular in forum, because if you're regular in forum, then people can help you. I think there's a signal break.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a question. There's a till Mr. Bhaskar gets back. So Sneha mentioned, have you ever strayed away from LCHF diet and gone back to high carb regime? Fortunately or unfortunately, I cannot do this, because the moment I stray away, I start getting aches and pain. I become low energy person and sleepy post meal. So I'm forced to get back to low carb. But then essentially it is like once you're seen, you cannot unsee the benefits. There is no benefit at all in going back to the high carb diet except the taste, for a momentary taste which will last for 10-15 minutes and then suffer pain and misery. No thanks. And I have made my foods tasty enough with the protein and fats, and I enjoy my high energy life. No
Actually,
thanks.
Shashi is very much consistent on this very low carbohydrate diet. But yes, in once in a while you can cheat,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
but you should learn that how you have to cover with some exercises. Like Anup Singh, he usually cheat on LCHF, but he knows how to cover up with exercise or more movements.
I think first of all, there are no planned cheats. Neither he or me. We don't do planned cheats. But then there are times where we are forced to have
Yeah,
little
yeah.
carb diet, or maybe let me frankly admit that maybe in festivals and all it is
And
little
everybody is
difficult.
different,
Yes,
Shashi. So some people can
yeah.
tolerate some
So
carbs.
so we might little break, but then we get back on the next meal. So it has to be what is called as an informed decision. Okay, you're breaking away, and you'll get back in the next meal. So that has
And
to
it
be done.
depends on the metabolic flexibility as well,
Yeah, yeah,
how much
yeah.
flexible you are.
Yeah. So the moment I go off, I get back to the ketogenic level within next maybe 1.5 to 2 days max.
But then some people has to wait for a week.
Yeah. So that depends. But then I don't tend to stray away because I've seen the benefits. So for me, I cannot unsee it.
Mhm.
Now that depends upon people to people. I cannot unsee it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never felt any fainting spells on LCHF. Generally, what happens is fainting spells when people will do is when they don't understand LCHF properly and they actually go into low calorie diet, and then that
Yeah.
is the time they will have fainting spells. One, secondly, if they are on medication, which will lower your blood sugar or release a lot of insulin, and that is the time people will go on fainting spell.
And
Otherwise,
even low
just
salt, low salt
yeah.
also lead
So
them to this
essentially, anything
fainting.
which is not done properly under proper guidance, that's how it will do. But
Yeah,
then,
some mineral deficiency can
yeah,
lead to this situation.
fainting spell is very, very, very common on those people who do a low calorie diet. What they do
Okay.
is they lower carbohydrate, they are afraid to take fat, and they don't take protein food. They will take only this vegetables and some soup, thinking that it is low carb diet. They will take 1 teaspoon of coconut oil and think it is low carb diet. And then essentially they're on a very low caloric diet, 600, 700 calories. They are bound to faint one or the other day. So it is
Yeah.
not right to do that. Yeah. CGM. CGM, yes, I have used Freestyle Libre Pro a couple of times, and it has helped me fine tune my diet even further. Like if I had not done for finely, like for example, sometime after breakfast, I used to take a cup of tea or coffee with milk, and then slowly, as I realized that this is spiking, and then I got off. I went to something different. So similarly, if we tend to break something, break a pattern, take a wrong food, that will actually help us devise a good diet plan. So that's all. So Bhaskar sir,
Yes, sir.
so you may have to sustain yourself properly. Maybe just visit D Life, and
Yes.
so, or you ping me sometimes. I'll tell you what all to do. But then essentially, if
Yes.
you're regular in D Life, it will help you fine tune it.
Yeah, I think so. Yes. Even
I
talking
think,
to you once in a while is a big help.
yeah. See, I think for your age and considering the history of diabetes, I don't mind if you're a little bull, have a good relaxed one, and you will be able to do well. But you need then, if the secretion capacity is less, then you need medication and diet both. But I think you're still doing excellent, far far better uh, for a person of your history and age.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shashi. And thank you for your guidance all the time.
Thanks, sir. Thanks.
Yeah, one question from my side. Hello, Shashi sir.
Yeah,
Am I audible?
yeah. Bhavan, bolo.
Yeah. So my question is that if we are on the low carb diet, right? I mean, we
The stand out. That's good. Because also not use the funny shape term.
Bhavan, we cannot hear you.
You can type in the chat box, that would be better because your voice is not clear.
I think Bhavan
okay,
is.
just a minute. Now is it clear?
Yeah. Bhavan, we cannot hear you again. I think the issue is with the signal. You can actually type it out if you can.
Am I now audible?
Yeah.
So if we are on a low carb diet, my question is that my job is of the field, And what happens if we get low on energy? Will it be possible that we got low on energy maybe in the evening time, or at some time we feel we are not so well on the energy because we need to keep riding and we need to, otherwise
Yeah. So what you can do is you can carry some stuff with you, some low carb stuff with you, and have them. I know in the
That's
initial transition phase this will happen
So,
somewhere
sir,
in the
my
yeah.
question is that it's always believed that sugar is the source of energy. I mean, and we also feel energized after having some sugar. So, without sugar, will that help?
See, what happens is, where is sugar recommended? You have to understand first. For those diabetics who are on medication which will lower blood sugar with sulfonylurea class of drug, or if they're taking insulin, and then what happens is there is a continuous release of insulin in the system which will lower down blood sugar. So that the patients are forced to eat 3, 4, 5, 6 times. If they don't eat, then the blood sugar will drop and they will feel low energy. So they have to have sugar, otherwise they'll go into hypoglycemia or even into coma. So that is not the case with us. We will not go into hypo. It is just not possible. Low energy, sometimes it is possible, yes. So you may have to just have some low carb stuff like some nuts or something which you can always carry with you. So absolutely it will. And after some time you will understand that this is how I have to titrate our food in this way. I have to take something in the morning. Some people, they have to take something in the afternoon. You take something in the afternoon also. Maybe you can carry with you. If it is a field job, you carry with some stuff with you and then have it. Absolutely, there is no issue.
So, will is it like it won't be the instant it
No.
used to be like with the sugar, the energy we to get.
See, if you take sugar, that blood sugar will shoot up.
नहीं, but what happens sir, पहले क्या होता था, we feel low, एक अपन का natural sugar जैसे गन्ने का juice एक ले लिया, I mean take one and
Very
we get a rest and we get energized. So in this case, if you are not taking that, will it take some time with all
No,
those?
see, this low energy you might feel in the transition phase. I'm not denying this. You will get in the transition phase maybe a week or 10 days, and then after that you will actually find you have high energy. You will have actually high energy because you will be actually eating your body fat, the fat you take from diet and body fat. You will actually have high energy.
Actually, it depends, in the transition phase, as Shashi mentioned, it do happens. But, once you completely adapt, your body adapts to the fat as an energy source, then you will not face such issue. So are you overweight or are you in the transitioning phase?
He's just going to start. So
okay, so it happens in the initial phase, it do happens, but it takes time. Once your body will adapt the fat of your body, then you will never feel like low energy, like you are saying that you need some glucose source, because your body takes some time.
Your body may carry something like 2000 calories worth of sugar or something, and then but then the fat, which is almost 15,000 20,000 calories,
Yeah.
the fat is unlimited stores. Not to worry, you don't require sugar actually.
Yeah, once your body start eating that fat, there is this unlimited source is already available with you, so you don't need to worry about
See,
that.
the general population, what happens is they feel low in energy because these guys are already insulin resistant.
Yeah.
Your body is not able to absorb that sugar. Actually, if you do a blood sugar test with these people who are sitting in ganna juice just before, you will find the blood sugar already high. Blood sugar is there in the system. Your body is not able to take blood sugar. They feel low energy. And then what will happen? They will take ganna juice. And then the blood sugar will spike to more than 200. Meanwhile, your body will release a hell lot of insulin in response to this ganna juice. And then that additional insulin is going to push that blood glucose somewhere, and then you will feel energized. But you are going to a vicious cycle of excess glucose and hyperinsulinemia or excess insulin.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why this ganna juice, which will actually lead to a lot of issues. And let me tell you, the gannas or sugarcane are actually where once used to make those cattle fat. It was a cattle food which has come to human. It might have some medicine application in Ayurveda, it may be, but not in common general food. This might be taken by some laborers who are out working in hot sun with huge energy expenditure. It is possible, but you and me, if you take ganna juice, let me assure you, it is going to get deposited in your liver, and it is only going to cause fatty liver.
Yes, if you keep on taking this ganna juice, you will never get rid of these high insulin levels, and your body will never use the fat. You are already having it with you. So consistently follow LCHF. So
And you
with
will-
time, when your insulin levels will get back to the normal level, then your body will eat your fat.
we have boundless energy. We have a lot of energy in us.
Yeah.
Energy, when I say energy, it's in form of carb and fat and a lot of fat in us. We can use that. We just need to know how to take that.
This is the problem, Shashi. People just quit during the transitional phase itself.
And that transition phase, like headache or low energy or everything, will be shown as an adverse effect by those people who are ignorant and who have not read the literature. It's a transition phase.
Yeah, that's
Like
why
in
day life is there.
Yeah, like in exercise, when you start exercising, initially your body pains. Is it an adverse effect? Will
Mhm.
people stop exercising because it's a side effect? No, people will continue. After some time, that pain goes away. So similarly, even in low carb diet, when you go in the transition, you're going to have pain. Some transition will go off. I hope this addresses your question.
Yes, 100%, sir. Got it. Thanks. Thank you.
Welcome.
So I think, Shashi, we can close
Yeah.
the session now
Yeah.
because we are getting out of time.
Yeah. Fine.
Oh. Jasmeet.
Yeah.
Bolo.
Just one short,
Bolo.
quick question. What
Yeah,
fruits
sure.
are allowed? What fruits are allowed? Because this LCHF sometimes causes constipation. So I would need some fiber for movement,
Yeah. So what you can do is
Eat papaya, eat guava.
See, you can take that in small quantity.
Yes.
Okay. Now we recommend this only on those individual tolerance capacity. Individual tolerance capacity. So if you want fiber, why don't you take a lot of vegetable? My question is simple. We have a lot of vegetable with us. Okay.
The cruciferous vegetables, they are high in
vegetables. All high fibrous vegetables are not. You can take that. And something which you yourself told us that you take chia seeds for relieving. You can take that. You can go ahead and add chia seed to any of your dish and do. If you want, want fruit, then you take a small guava or a small apple.
Actually, sometimes even low fiber is not the cause of constipation. So don't just, blindly take the high fiber foods.
But then I think some people want that. It is perfectly okay. But then the cause of constipation is many. It is dehydration. And something which is not understood well is even severe electrolyte imbalance. Adding enough salt will also normalize for many salt, magnesium, potassium. But we need to be a little careful if someone is a hypertensive patient or blood pressure patient. They need to be a little careful for the salt. But then for
First,
others,
try to increase your water intake, as Shashi mentioned. So it's important.
And then you add little salads to your diet, so that will give you very solid roughage. Absolutely.
Adding water और बहुत ही ज़्यादा दिक्कत है ना, तो if you are taking magnesium supplement, switch to magnesium citrate.
Yeah.
It acts as a laxative.
Okay.
But then we'll have to find what works for us.
Yes. Thank you so much, Shashi and team.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jasmeet.
Thanks.
Welcome. So I think we can now close the session. Thank you so much, Shashi. Thank you so much, viewers, for joining us. Thank you.
Thanks, Jasmeet, and thanks, DLife, for inviting me.
You are welcome, Shashi, always.